Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into my channel. So guys, it is Sunday night, so that means it is Euphoria time. Hey, so guys, we are on week 5 of Euphoria of season 2. So that means we're on episode 5. So last week was episode 4. So with episode 4, when I looked on YouTube and Twitter, pretty much it was like a general consensus to the episode that people felt like the episode was all over the place. Which is kind of what I actually feel like the episode was boring. For me, I feel like last week's episode was what you consider a bridge episode or a filler episode, which means it was needed to get us to this week's episode, to get us to the excitement. And that happens when it comes to, shows, just the writing. Not every episode is going to be explosions and jumping out of helicopters, because at that point it's the point where it's not going to be realistic if so much is going on every single episode. So last week for me, I actually thought the episode was boring. The only thing that was clear and concise with last week's episode is Cal's confession towards the very end of the episode. That was the only thing that was like clear and concise and solidified in the episode. Everything else was kind of boring to me, to be honest. But like I said, we're on episode 5. It's Sunday night. I already have the episode queued up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down to pretty much intervals of 15, and then I'm going to come back to you after every 15 minutes. So I'm going to do 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, and then the last however many minutes. Typically the last few minutes of the show, it doesn't end up being a full hour. But like I said, I'm going to come back every 15 minutes and kind of give you a synopsis of what happened in 15 minutes. And then at the end, we're going to wrap everything up. Okay, so I'll see you after the first 15, okay? Okay, guys, so I'm back after the first 15 minutes. And let me tell you, baby, this opening 15 minutes was a lot. So we opened up the episode with Rue's mom confronting her saying, "I know you're back on drugs." So Rue storms into Gia's room thinking that Gia snitched. And Gia's like, "Yo, I didn't say anything, mom. Tell her I didn't say anything." So Rue was like, "Okay, whatever. You think I'm back on drugs? Let's go do a drug test." So she's walking down the hallway and her mom goes, "I don't need to do a drug test because Jules told me everything." Guys, Jules went and snitched and dropped the bomb. Yeah, guys, so Jules snitch and tells everything to Rue's mom. So now Rue starts going crazy. So Rue starts going crazy, tearing up the whole entire house looking for the suitcase. Because as you guys know, Rue got fronted $10,000 worth of drugs, which is in the suitcase, from Lori. So she's supposed to flip these drugs for the money, but she's doing the drugs. So Rue is going crazy. So in this scene, you see the dynamic of hot and cold, of her being an addict, but she's going crazy, cussing out her mom and her sister. But then the next 30 seconds, she'll break down and say, "Oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry. I love you." So it's really showing you the dynamic of, like I said, the hot and cold aspect of a person who's an addict, where they have the love and the compassion, but they're so twisted in the head that it makes them go bad from, the aspect of doing drugs. So Rue's going crazy, tearing up the whole entire house. So next we hear a voice from the living room saying, "We flushed all the drugs down the toilet." And the voice is the voice is Jules. Jules. So Jules and Ellie have been sitting in the living room the whole entire time, and Rue didn't know because they're in the hallways of the bedroom. So all this going back and forth, they're in the hallway. So Rue storms into the living room and she was like, "Oh, I see what's going on. Y'all trying to gang up on me." So she calls out Elliot saying, you're a whole entire addict like me, so you shut up and don't say nothing." And then she goes in on Jules saying, "You're nothing but a vampire. All you do is suck the energy of everyone around you. You don't know how to love. You just want to be loved." So Jules is saying, "I did this for your own good. I do love you, and I want the best for you." Rue was like, "Nah, you're not a good person. You don't know how to love. You just want to be loved. And I want you out of my life. Leave me alone. You're dead to me, the whole nine." So now we're on the way to the hospital. Rue's mom gets her to calm down and say, "Hey, they can help you detox to the hospital." So I will check you guys out in the next 15. Okay, guys, so I just finished up the 30-minute mark, And so we start off now. Rue's mom convinces her to go to the hospital so that she can detox. So while they're in the car, Rue's mom, she switches up from saying hospital to saying rehab. So Rue's like, wait a minute, I can't do freaking rehab. It's gonna be pointless. It's gonna be no good. I'm not going through that. So Rue's mom's like, no, come on, it's gonna be okay. It's cool. So Rue jumps out the car, guys, in the middle of traffic. Middle of traffic. It's the middle of the day. She's running through the intersections. Gia is in the front seat yelling at her mom, like, yo, like, skirt off and go follow Rue. So Rue's mom is still sitting at the stoplight. Rue is running through traffic. Cars are stopping, swerving. Okay, so that was during the daytime. So now we fast forward to Rue. She's in an alley. It's after dark now. She's in an alley, scrunched over. So she goes to Fez's house. Fez doesn't answer the door, or he's not there at the time. So then she walks to Lexi and Cassie's house. So everybody's at Lexi and Cassie's house. I guess they're rehearsing for the play. So Lexi and Cassie's mom, she's coming down the steps. She's like, "Hey, Rue, how's rehab? How's not the rehab, but how's the recovery going?" She said, "Everything's good." So Rue goes, "Can I use the bathroom?" And then when Lexi and Cassie's mom walks down the steps, she whispers to Lexi, "Yeah, Rue looks horrible." So Lexi's and Cassie's mom is the type of person, like, she's gonna play along with you with the BS. She's gonna be sarcastic and play along with you, but she really knows that you're BSing at the end of the day. So Rue goes upstairs. Uses the bathroom. She's looking for drugs, so she doesn't find any drugs, and she steals a pair of Lexi's and Cassie's mom's earrings. So when Rue comes out the bathroom, her mom is standing in it's not the living room, but in, like, like in front of the door when you first walk in. So Rue's like, "Oh my God, mom, just leave me alone. I don't want to go." And Rue's mom is like, "Hey, just come on, just get in the car. Just please, just come on." So then Cassie goes, "You don't have to, think about rehab. You can do it one step at a time." So Cassie chimes in, trying to be, I guess positive. And then Rue goes, "How long have you been smashing Nate?" And Cassie goes, "What?" So Cassie is sweating. She's beat red in the face. And then Maddie goes, "Wait, what?" So everybody is snitching in this episode. Jules and Elliot then snitched on Rue to the mom. And now Rue has snitched on Cassie for smashing Nate. So Maddie is going off on Cassie. They ended up, so Cassie starts crying, running up the steps. Rue runs out the front door. And Rue's mom doesn't even see her run out the front door. So the way they're painting Rue's mom's character is like, is that, like, she's like a total ditz. Which from seasons 1 to now, it's like Rue's been doing drugs the whole time. So that's what everybody on social media is saying. It's like, how the heck does Rue mom not know that she's relapsed? So the way they're painting her character is just like, it's given, you know, not aware at all. Like, you are completely oblivious to your daughter, and you're living in the same house with her. So Rue runs out the door because everybody storms up the steps because Maddie is chasing after Cassie, trying to confront her. So Rue runs out the door, and then Rue's mom turns around. It's like, "Oh my God, where did Rue go? Like, girl, like, what's going on?" So Rue, she ends up going back to Fez's house because the first time she knocked on the door, he either wasn't there or wasn't answering. So he answers the door, and she's like, "What's up? I need something. I'm going through withdrawals." So the whole time I was trying to figure out what was happening to Rue, why she was in pain, when she's going through withdrawals from not, doing drugs. So he was like, "Yo, I ain't got nothing here." So like I said, on the last episode, the guy pulled up to Fez's apartment and it was like, "I think such and such's girlfriend, it's like on to us." So then he tells Rue, "I don't have any drugs." So clearly, Fez is trying to lay low for whatever situation that's happening from this girl. Um, so she goes to the bathroom. He was like, "Are you okay? Do you need some Pepto-Bismol?" She was like, "Nah." So Rue's going through the medicine cabinet like she does at everybody's house, looking for drugs. And then Fez walks in on her, ready to take his grandmother's drugs. So Rue is down bad. Like, Rue has lost her mind. So Fez is like, "Come on, man, you tripping. Like, it's the principal. How you gonna steal my grandma's drugs?" And then Rue pushes Fez up against the door. It's like, man, F that. I need it. You can't do me like this. So Fez ends up throwing Rue out of the apartment, throwing her out. Because she then acted a complete fool. And Fez has showed so much patience with her this for, the first two seasons. So now Ruth, she's just walking through the neighborhoods and she sees this couple leaving their house. So they're going to like a party because they're dressed up. So the garage door, so when you leave out the garage door, it's open. And then when you hit close, it closes. So Ruth runs and jumps, slides under the garage door. And then she pretty much breaks into these people's house. So she's going through the bedroom, going through the medicine cabinet. She finds some money. She finds a couple $100 bills. And then she finds a safe. Why did she put in the first code? Guys, the second code, she gets the safe open. So you magically get the safe open in a stranger's house. Okay, guys, so now I'm at the end of the 30 minutes. The couple has come home and she's hid under the bed. So now I'm ready to go and finish the next 15 minutes. And okay, so last where we left off, Rue had broken into these people's house. So the people came home from a party. Rue hid under the bed. The wife noticed her jewelry was missing. She yelled to the husband. The husband looks under the bed, finds Rue. Rue runs out the house. So Rue runs out the house a couple blocks over. So she's just standing on like the corner, like in front of an alley, and then the police scroll by. So the police are just scrolling by, just patrolling the neighborhood. Mind you, this isn't the police responding to the couple calling the police. They're just scrolling by like a few blocks over. So they asked her, it was like, hey, young lady, what are you doing? She was like, nothing, I'm on my way home. So she ends up throwing up. Someone said she's going through withdrawal. So after she throws up, she runs off on the plug. So, guys, this episode goes into a full police chase. They're chasing after Rue. They end up calling back up. It ends up being 5 police officers chasing after Rue through the city. She's running through junkyards. She ends up running through a quinceanera. She ends up running through a backyard, guys, where they were cooking on the grill. She ends up stepping on the grill. Flames are coming out the grill. She jumps over the fence on the grill. Eventually, she ends up hiding in like one of those big size trash cans. The police just give up. Mind you, it's 5 police officers chasing her. And Ruth's not running fast. Like, she's not a runner. She's not a track star. Because she's going through withdrawal. So that's how she's running. She's not running fast at all. And it's 5 police officers chasing after her. And they end up giving up. So she ends up hiding in the alley in this big trash can. And then she ends up going to Lori's apartment. Like I said, Lori is the plug. So she fronted her to 10,000 case of drugs, which her mama and Jules end up flushing down the toilet. So she's out here stealing on in people's houses to try to get this money to Lori. So she gives Lori the money and the jewelry that she finds through the night of her going through people's houses and stealing. And Lori says, this is not a pawn shop. You gotta give me the cash. So Lori ends up telling her a story how Lori was an athlete and how she ended up hurting herself and getting on opioids. And that's how she ended up getting on drugs. Once she got healed from her athlete's injury, she realized she was addicted. So Lori ends up saying, the good thing about women, even though we don't have money, we have something else. And it's like, wow, like she really just said that. So Rue is going through it. So Lori's like, I don't have anything for you. She was like, you don't shoot up, do you? Like, take drugs in your veins. She was like, I got some morphine, but since you don't shoot up to take drugs, I can help you. So Rue ends up going to the bathroom because, like I said, she's sick. She's going through it. And Lori ends up, giving her a bath because she's going through it. So Lori ends up giving her a bath and giving her the morphine anyway to help because it's like at this point, you got to do something. So while Lori is giving her a bath, they do flashbacks of her being a kid, like a toddler, taking baths with her father. And then it also flashes back to her father's funeral / eulogy, where she's speaking at the funeral, she's crying, and she's saying her final words to her father. And then it flashes back to Rue in the hospital when Gia is being born. So like I said, Rue is in the bath, she's Lori's giving her a bath, trying to help her, you know, with how she's feeling. And then we do all these flashbacks of Rue's, childhood or whatever. So Lori ends up giving her the morphine. They end up cleaning her up, and then the next scene, Rue wakes up. She's like in the second bedroom. She like fell asleep, whatever, after the bath. So Rue ends up walking past the bedroom with Lori and her boyfriend because she's like, yo, I got to get the heck out of this apartment. I can't be up in here, and I owe this woman money. So she ends up jumping out the second window. And then the next scene is we have Rue's mom at like the kitchen table sitting, and then somebody opens the door, and then she turns and she goes, Rue? Like with a question mark. Okay, so let's get down to the recap of this episode. So guys, the first half of this episode was great. Once we got to the second half, the writing, it was given all over the place. So the first half, the opening 15 minutes of this episode, the conversations that were had were very pivotal. So Rue ends up calling out Jules, and Rue ends up calling out her mom. So these are two conversations that I constantly see people talk about on social media. People talk about how they don't think Jules is right for Rue. People talk about how oblivious Rue's mom is, that she's living in a household with her and doesn't realize that she's doing hardcore drugs. So in the first 15 minutes, both of these like conversations or theories as far as social media kind of get called out in this episode. So Rue calls out Jules and she says, you're not a good person. You left me at the train station. You don't care about me. You're actually really selfish. You just want to be around people to suck up their energy so that you feel loved. So Rue calls out Jules, and then she calls out her mom and she says, you're a horrible parent. Like, your husband, my dad, is dead and gone, and I'm full-blown addicted to drugs, and you didn't even realize that I was on hardcore drugs. Like, you're a horrible mom. You're not a good mom. So within the first 15 minutes, she ends up calling out her mom, her mom and Jules. And these are two conversations I constantly see people talk about on social media. And people will always say how they felt like Jules was not a good partner for Rue, but people never really ever gave me like a breakdown, or they never really broke it down to why they thought that Jules was so bad for Rue. So with that conversation of Rue calling her out, it's kind of like, you're selfish. You actually weren't there for me. You're actually not this loving, caring person that you think you are. You just want to be around people to have fun and to suck up fun energy and to get the feeling of being loved without really giving it back. So yeah, so the first half of this episode is cool. So like I said, once we get to the second half, we get to Rue. Like I said, she jumps out the car because she thinks her mom's taking her to rehab. She's running through the city. Like I said, Rue ends up calling out Cassie. That's something else that happens in this episode. She calls out Cassie. Now, in that moment, some of you may consider that bad writing. I didn't look at that as bad writing. I looked at that as it actually went into play with who Rue is, meaning she's a drug addict. And at this point, she's going through withdrawals. So at no time frame is Rue really in her right frame of mind. So when she calls out Cassie, that was just kind of a Hail Mary moment of saying F it. So for me, as far as the writing, that actually made sense with just the character arc of who Rue is. She's a drug addict, and in this particular episode, she's going through withdrawals. So it's kind of like what you get from Rue is what you get. You're not getting rationality from Rue, at any point. So when she called out Cassie, she was like, oh yeah, I saw you kissing Nate in his truck. How long have you been smashing Nate? So for me, that actually fell in line. I didn't think that that was bad writing. That actually made sense to me. And like I said, it just shows you, with this episode, it really shows you the dynamics of drug addicts being hot and cold. Meaning, one minute she's going off, she's calling you out, and then the next minute she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. No. So with this episode, Rue did that pretty much the entire episode. Like, she's going crazy, cursing you out, and then within the next minute, she's babbling like a baby, telling you how much she loves you. So it's really showing you the dynamic of, how an addict is. So like I said, with the Cassie Maddie situation, that's all we got. They ended up running up the steps, and that's all we saw. So we didn't get too much for that, but we do officially getting Cassie called out, and now Maddie 100% knows what's going on. Like I said, the rest of the episode was all over the place. Rue is running around. She broke into this couple's house, stole money, stole drugs. She ends up getting the safe code within the second time she put it in. So she put in 1 2 3 4 5 6, and she put in 1 1 1 1 1 1. So she just cracked the safe code. So for me, the writing, the second half of this episode, it was all over the place, and it's just like I I can't really give it the benefit of the doubt because it was all over the place. Like I was not here for the writing at all. Like it was not adding up. It was not making sense. And then we go on a full police chase, and then we end off the episode with Rue talking to Lori. So we end off the episode being good. We end off the episode being good, because this was another like pivotal conversation. And Lori is so cool, calm, and collected. Like she is terrifying. How cool, calm, and collected she is, it's just like it doesn't make sense with who she is. She's like this drug. I don't want to say she's a drug lord because, I mean, from the looks of it, it don't look like she got that much money. She's doing her thing, or maybe she's trying to stay low key on purpose. But her energy is so calm and rational that it's just like it really throws you off. It's just like it's terrifying. Like I said, we end off the episode where we were having a conversation with Lori, and Lori pretty much saying, I was addicted. I went through this and I did everything I could to get drugs, kind of like what Rue was doing. And she was pretty much telling us, like, if you can't get the rest of this money from me as a woman, you have something that, they could replace the money. So yeah, that is it. Like I said, the first half was cool. Once we got to the second half, it was a little all over the place with the writing. It wasn't really making sense with the writing to me. But yeah, tell me what you guys think, and I will see you next week.